Millions of truck owners are driving vehicles that could fail catastrophically at any moment, and they don't even know it. For years, General Motors trucks have been a symbol of power and reliability, trusted by families, workers, and adventurers alike. But now, a shocking revelation has exposed a hidden defect that could leave owners stranded, or worse. Why are these trusted engines failing without warning? What has GM done to address it or cover it up? And how much would this cost you? Stick around, because what we uncover next will change how you think about trucks forever. What's happening? What if the truck you trusted could fail catastrophically without warning? For decades, General Motors, or GM, has been a name synonymous with dependability, power, and innovation. Their trucks and SUVs, particularly models like the Chevrolet Silverado, GMC Sierra, Cadillac Escalade, have been marketed as icons of American engineering. But recent revelations have cast a dark shadow over this storied reputation. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has opened a preliminary investigation into a staggering 877,000 vehicles produced by GM between 2019 and 2024. This isn't just another recall, it's a bombshell. At the heart of the investigation are GM's L87 V8 engines, used in many of their most popular vehicles. These engines, found in models like the Chevrolet Tahoe, GMC Yukon, and Chevrolet Suburban, have been linked to bearing failures that can cause complete engine seizure. For truck owners, this means more than just inconvenience. It's a potential safety hazard. A seizing engine can cause a vehicle to lose power suddenly, increasing the risk of an accident. What's even more shocking is that these issues often occur without warning signs like unusual noises or dashboard alerts. Imagine this: you're cruising down the highway in your expensive brand new truck, only for the engine to fail completely, leaving you stranded and possibly in danger. For the 877,000 affected vehicles, this isn't a hypothetical, it's a very real possibility. And here's where it gets worse. This issue could lead to a complete engine seizure or a dangerous crash. But what's causing this widespread failure? Let's break it down. The heart of the problem, what most truck owners don't realize, is their engines might be ticking time bombs. To understand the scope of GM's V8 engine crisis, we need to dive into the technology behind these engines. At the core of the problem is GM's dynamic fuel management system, a feature designed to improve fuel efficiency by deactivating certain cylinders when full power isn't needed. On paper, it sounds like a win-win: better gas mileage and a more environmentally friendly vehicle. But the reality has been far from ideal. This system relies on a series of lifters to manage cylinder activation and deactivation. When these lifters fail, and they frequently do, they cause a cascade of engine problems. One of the most severe outcomes is bearing failure. Bearings are crucial for the smooth operation of an engine, and when they fail, it can lead to catastrophic consequences, including total engine seizure or even breaching of the engine block. For those unfamiliar, breaching the engine block means creating a literal hole in the side of the engine, rendering it completely irreparable. Even more frustrating for truck owners is that these failures often occur without warning. Unlike traditional engine issues that might present with ticking noises or dashboard warnings, these problems can strike suddenly, leaving drivers completely blindsided. The scope of the problem is massive, with models like the Chevrolet Silverado, GMC Sierra, and Cadillac Escalade all impacted. And while GM's engineers may have envisioned the DFM system as a revolutionary step forward, it's now clear that it has become a source of headaches, financial strain, and safety concerns for owners. This technology, marketed as innovative, is now a source of massive financial and safety concerns. And the cost to repair, prepare to be shocked. The hidden costs. Imagine spending over $7,500 to fix an engine in a truck that's supposed to last decades. Truck owners purchase vehicles like the Chevrolet Tahoe or GMC Sierra expecting reliability, power, and longevity. These aren't budget cars, they are investments, often costing upwards of $70,000. But what happens when that investment starts falling apart far earlier than expected? The financial toll of these engine failures is staggering. For those fortunate enough to catch the issue early, say by noticing a faint ticking noise, the repair costs are still shocking. A standard dealership repair to replace lifters involves approximately $5,300 in labor alone. Add in the cost of parts, and the total climbs to over $7,500. And that's if you're lucky. In cases where the engine completely fails, such as a breaching of the engine block, the repair involves replacing the entire engine. This can cost upwards of $10,000, depending on the severity of the damage and the specific model. Imagine spending nearly $80,000 on a truck only to be hit with a repair bill that's nearly a sixth of its original cost. Owners feel betrayed. They bought into the GM brand expecting durability and dependability. Instead, they're facing repair costs that rival the price of an entire used vehicle. For many, this financial strain is compounded by the fact that these issues often occur outside of the vehicle's warranty period, leaving owners to foot the entire bill themselves. And these costs pale in comparison to what happens when the engine completely grenades. But this isn't just a modern problem, it's been brewing for years. A long history of failures. GM's engine troubles did not start yesterday. It's been a slow-motion disaster. The current investigation into GM's L87 V8 engines is just the latest chapter in a long history of reliability issues. For years, owners of Chevrolet trucks and SUVs have reported problems ranging from excessive oil consumption to lifter failures and recurring transmission issues. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a larger pattern that suggests systemic problems in GM's approach to engine design. Take, for example, the lawsuits filed against GM over its active fuel management technology, the predecessor to today's dynamic fuel management system. AFM was supposed to improve fuel efficiency, but instead became infamous for causing lifter failures and other engine problems. Many of these issues were never fully resolved, and they seem to have carried over into the newer DFM-equipped engines. This isn't just frustrating for consumers, it's damaging to GM's reputation. Truck owners are a loyal group, often sticking with brands for generations. But when a trusted name like GM repeatedly fails to address long-standing issues, that loyalty begins to erode. What's worse, the competition is not standing still. Companies like Toyota and Ford, despite facing their own challenges, have managed to maintain a reputation for reliability in key areas. Toyota's older V8 engines, for example, are celebrated for their longevity, with some owners reporting over 1 million miles on a single engine. Meanwhile, GM is struggling to convince buyers that their engines can make it through a single decade without catastrophic failure. And yet, GM isn't the only automaker with engine woes. Others have their share of disasters. Speaking of which, let's compare GM's struggles to its competitors. GM versus the competition. Here's where it gets really interesting. GM isn't alone in this mess. General Motors' recent revelations have exposed a systemic issue with their V8 engines, but they aren't the only automaker facing scrutiny. Across the industry, automakers are wrestling with the same fundamental challenge: balancing innovation, environmental regulations, and consumer expectations. GM's competitors, including Toyota and Ford, have made their own attempts to adapt to modern demands, but their approaches haven't been flawless either. Take Toyota, for instance. For decades, Toyota's 5.7-liter V8 engine in the Tundra was the gold standard for reliability. This engine was so robust that many owners reported driving well over 1 million miles with little more than routine maintenance. Toyota even showcased one of these million-mile trucks in their headquarters as a testament to the durability of their engineering. Yet, due to increasing regulatory pressures for better fuel efficiency and lower emissions, Toyota retired this legendary engine, replacing it with a twin turbocharged V6. At first glance, the switch seemed logical. Turbocharged engines can offer similar power to a V8 while improving fuel economy, but the reality hasn't lived up to the promise. Toyota's new twin-turbo V6 has been plagued with issues, including premature failures, oil leaks, and complications with its intricate turbocharging system. This has left many Toyota loyalists longing for the days of the tried-and-true V8. Ford, another key player in the truck market, has faced similar challenges. Their 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, a turbocharged V6 designed to replace traditional V8s, has been marketed as a high-performance, fuel-efficient alternative. However, this engine is notorious for issues like carbon buildup, intercooler condensation, and ignition system failures. Owners report frequent breakdowns, sometimes with as few as 30,000 miles on the odometer. And this raises a crucial question: are modern engines designed for longevity or just compliance? Let's dive into how these changes impact consumers directly. Consumer confidence eroding. Would you trust a truck that might leave you stranded? The loyalty of truck buyers has long been a cornerstone of the automotive industry. Many families stick with a single brand for generations, believing in the durability and reliability of their vehicles. But with the ongoing engine issues plaguing GM, Toyota, and Ford, that loyalty is being tested like never before. Imagine spending $75,000 or more on a truck like the Chevrolet Silverado High Country or the Toyota Tundra, only to face major engine repairs within the first few years. For many consumers, this is not just a financial burden, it's an emotional betrayal. Trucks are often more than just vehicles. They are tools for work, companions on road trips, and symbols of dependability. When that dependability is called into question, it leaves a lasting impact. And take the case of John, a longtime GM customer who purchased a brand new GMC Sierra in 2021. After less than 30,000 miles, John's engine seized without warning, leaving him stranded on the side of a busy highway. The repair bill? Over $10,000. I've been driving GMC trucks my entire life, John said, but after this experience, I don't think I'll ever buy one again. This erosion of trust isn't confined to GM. Ford's EcoBoost engines and Toyota's new twin-turbo V6 have faced similar criticism. As reliability takes a back seat to fuel efficiency and emissions compliance, consumers are left wondering whether any modern truck can truly be trusted. This isn't just about vehicles, it's about trust, loyalty, and what buyers deserve. But how did we get here? The answer lies in regulatory pressures. Regulations versus reliability. Could government rules be making your truck less dependable? At the heart of many modern engine issues lies a complex web of government regulations aimed at reducing emissions and improving fuel economy. While these goals are undoubtedly important, their unintended consequences have created significant challenges for automakers and consumers alike. In the past, truck engines were designed with a singular focus: durability. Engines like Toyota's 5.7-liter V8 and Ford's 5-liter V8 were built to last, often clocking hundreds of thousands of miles without significant issues. But as governments around the world began enforcing stricter emission standards, automakers were forced to rethink their designs. Technologies like cylinder deactivation, turbocharging, and direct fuel injection were introduced as solutions. These innovations allowed engines to meet regulatory requirements while maintaining high levels of performance. However, they also introduced new points of failure. Cylinder deactivation, for example, relies on complex mechanisms like lifters, which are prone to failure in GM's L87 engines. Turbocharging systems, while effective at boosting power, require meticulous maintenance and are vulnerable to overheating and oil contamination. For automakers, the challenge is balancing compliance with customer expectations. Stricter regulations mean higher production costs, which are often passed on to consumers. And while these technologies may improve fuel economy on paper, the frequent breakdowns and expensive repairs they cause negate many of their benefits. And this changes everything because these regulations might be doing more harm than good for truck owners. Let's take a closer look at what options buyers still have. The alternatives. If GM's engines are failing, what trucks can you still rely on? In a market flooded with advanced but unreliable technology, many truck buyers are looking to the past for solutions. Older models, particularly those with naturally aspirated V8 engines, are emerging as the go-to choice for reliability-conscious consumers. But which models are worth considering? Toyota's previous generation Tundra, equipped with the legendary 5.7-liter V8, is often cited as one of the most dependable trucks ever made. Owners frequently report exceeding 200,000 or even 300,000 miles with minimal maintenance. Even used models from 2018 or 2019 are highly sought after, with prices often holding steady thanks to their reputation for reliability. Another strong contender is Ford's F-150, equipped with the 5.0-liter Coyote V8. While newer F-150s with EcoBoost engines have been plagued by issues, the naturally aspirated V8 models continue to perform well. Used F-150s from 2018 or 2019 can often be found for under $30,000, making them a practical alternative for budget-conscious buyers. Even the Ram 1500, equipped with the 5.7-liter Hemi V8, has proven to be a reliable option. While Ram trucks may not have the same longevity as Toyota models, their powerful engines and luxurious interiors make them a popular choice for those seeking a balance between performance and comfort. These trucks prove that reliability doesn't have to be a thing of the past. But what does the future hold for GM and the entire industry? Inside GM's Response. How does GM justify years of engine failures and growing consumer outrage? For General Motors, the growing outcry over its V8 engine issues is not just a public relations headache, it is a crisis that threatens the company's reputation and bottom line. In response to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration investigation into 877,000 vehicles, GM has promised full cooperation, but what does cooperation really mean? And will it translate into meaningful action for truck owners? Historically, GM has taken a cautious approach to addressing widespread defects. While the company has issued recalls for critical safety issues in the past, its handling of non-immediate problems, such as the engine failures linked to the L87 V8, has been less proactive. Many owners feel that GM has been slow to acknowledge the severity of the situation, let alone offer comprehensive solutions. For years, customers have reported engine ticking, sudden failures, and even complete engine grenading, only to be met with silence or costly repair bills. The cost of inaction. What's the true price of GM's mistakes? The financial implications of GM's engine crisis extend far beyond repair bills for individual owners. The company itself faces mounting costs, from potential recall expenses to the long-term damage to its brand. Consider this: if GM were to recall all 877,000 vehicles affected by the L87 V8 engine issues, the cost could easily climb into the billions. Each engine repair or replacement could cost upwards of $7,500, not including labor, administrative costs, or compensation for owners. But the financial toll does not stop there. Lawsuits are already piling up, with many truck owners banding together in class action lawsuits against GM. These lawsuits allege that GM knowingly sold vehicles with defective engines and failed to address the issue in a timely manner. The potential settlements from these cases could further strain the company's finances, possibly diverting funds from critical development projects and delaying their future innovations. Beyond the direct costs, there is the damage to GM's reputation. Truck owners are among the most loyal customer groups in the automotive industry, and losing their trust can have a ripple effect. If current GM owners decide to switch brands after their negative experiences, it could result in lost sales worth billions over the next decade. Even worse, bad publicity surrounding the engine failures could deter new customers from considering GM trucks and SUVs altogether. And this could have ripple effects far beyond GM's balance sheet, affecting the company's ability to compete in an evolving market. Which brings us to the future of truck design. The end of V8s? Are we witnessing the death of the V8 engine? Once considered the pinnacle of power and reliability, the V8 engine now seems to be on its way out. Increasingly stringent emission standards and the push toward electrification have made it harder for automakers to justify the production of traditional V8s. For GM, the recent controversies surrounding the L87 engine might only accelerate this trend. The shift away from V8 engines is not unique to GM. Across the industry, automakers are phasing out these once beloved power plants in favor of smaller turbocharged engines and hybrid or fully electric alternatives. Toyota has already replaced its reliable 5.7-liter V8 with a twin turbocharged V6 in the Tundra. Ford is leaning heavily on its EcoBoost lineup, and even Ram has started introducing hybrid technology alongside its Hemi V8. The question is, can these alternatives truly replace the V8? Critics argue that turbocharged engines, while more efficient, often lack the durability of their V8 predecessors. Electric trucks like GM's own Silverado EV promise impressive performance but come with their own set of challenges, including limited charging infrastructure and high initial costs. For truck buyers, the end of the V8 era feels like the loss of a trusted friend. V8 engines have long been celebrated for their smooth power delivery, reliability, and ability to handle heavy workloads. Losing this staple of the truck market could fundamentally change how consumers view these vehicles. This could signal a seismic shift for truck owners everywhere. But what can consumers do to protect themselves now? Protecting yourself as a buyer. Here's how to avoid getting burned by unreliable trucks. In a market where even the most trusted brands are faltering, how can consumers protect themselves? The key lies in being informed and cautious. With GM's L87 V8 engine issues making headlines, buyers need to approach their next vehicle purchase with a critical eye. The first step is research. Before buying any vehicle, potential buyers should look into its reliability history. Online forums, consumer reviews, and resources like the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration database can provide valuable insights into common issues. For GM vehicles equipped with the L87 engine, this research would have revealed the widespread complaints about lifter and bearing failures, potentially saving buyers from costly repairs down the line. Another important strategy is to avoid first-year models of new vehicles. When automakers introduce new technologies or redesigns, the initial production runs often face unforeseen issues. For example, many of the problems with GM's dynamic fuel management system only became apparent after the vehicles had been on the road for several years. Waiting until these issues are resolved can save buyers significant headaches. For those looking for a reliable truck today, older models with proven track records are often the best choice. Vehicles like the previous generation Toyota Tundra, equipped with the 5.7-liter V8, or the Ford F-150 with the 5.0-liter V8, offer a balance of modern amenities and long-term reliability. Even used models from as recently as 2018 or 2019 can provide years of trouble-free driving at a fraction of the cost of a new truck. Finally, extended warranties can be a worthwhile investment, particularly for buyers considering vehicles with complex new technologies. While these warranties add to the upfront cost, they provide peace of mind and financial protection in case of unexpected repairs. Because informed buyers are the key to holding automakers accountable. Let's wrap up by exploring what this means for GM's future. GM's Gamble. Will GM double down on its V8s or abandon them altogether? General Motors is standing at a crossroads. Its reputation as a producer of reliable, powerful trucks has taken a significant hit, and the choices it makes now will determine its future. With the ongoing crisis surrounding the L87 V8 engine, the company faces a tough decision. Should it continue investing in V8 engines and try to resolve their issues, or pivot entirely toward electric vehicles and alternative powertrains? At the heart of this decision lies a critical gamble. GM has already committed to a future that heavily leans on electrification, announcing that it plans to go fully electric by the year 2035. This ambitious target includes introducing an all-electric lineup of trucks and SUVs, including models like the Chevrolet Silverado EV and GMC Sierra EV. The promise of these vehicles is clear: instant torque, impressive towing capacity, and reduced emissions. Yet, the path to electrification is fraught with challenges. The first hurdle is consumer acceptance. Many traditional truck buyers remain skeptical about electric vehicles, citing concerns like range anxiety, limited charging infrastructure, and the ability to perform heavy-duty tasks reliably. These are not minor concerns, especially for customers who depend on their trucks for work. A vehicle that cannot handle tough conditions, long drives, or heavy towing is not just an inconvenience, it is a liability. Then there is the financial side. Developing electric trucks is expensive, and GM is pouring billions into battery technology, EV production facilities, and marketing campaigns to position itself as a leader in this space. However, with high production costs, EVs often come with steep price tags, making them less accessible to the average truck buyer. This creates a paradox. GM needs to sell EVs to recoup its investment, but their high prices could deter the very customers they are targeting. Finally, GM must address its existing customer base. The L87 V8 crisis has shaken the faith of many loyal buyers, and abandoning traditional engines entirely could alienate this group further. For years, these customers have relied on GM trucks for their power, durability, and reliability. If the company pivots too quickly to EVs without addressing their concerns, it risks losing them to competitors. And here's where it gets tricky. Every choice comes with major risks. But how will this impact the wider truck market? The ripple effect. When GM stumbles, the entire industry feels it. General Motors is not just one of the largest automakers in the world, it is a trendsetter. The company's decisions have a profound impact on the entire automotive industry, influencing competitors, suppliers, and even government policies. As GM grapples with its V8 engine issues and the shift toward electrification, the ripple effects of its choices are already being felt across the truck market. One of the most immediate impacts is on the perception of V8 engines as a whole. For decades, the V8 was considered the gold standard for power, reliability, and performance. But as more automakers, including GM, face challenges with their V8 engines, consumer trust in this technology is eroding. This could accelerate the industry-wide shift away from V8s and towards smaller, turbocharged engines or electric powertrains. Another significant ripple effect is the growing competition among automakers to capture the loyalty of disillusioned GM customers. Brands like Toyota, Ford, and Ram are capitalizing on GM's struggles by emphasizing their own strengths. Toyota, for instance, is highlighting the reliability of its older V8 models, while Ford and Ram are refining their hybrid and electric offerings to appeal to a broader audience. Suppliers are also feeling the impact. The ongoing shift away from traditional engines is forcing companies that produce components for V8s, such as lifters and camshafts, to rethink their business models. Many are now investing in battery technology and electric motor components, anticipating a future where internal combustion engines play a smaller role. Lastly, GM's challenges are reshaping government and regulatory discussions. The failures of technologies like dynamic fuel management, designed to improve fuel efficiency and reduce emissions, are raising questions about whether current regulations are pushing automakers too far, too fast. Policymakers may need to reconsider how they balance environmental goals with the realities of engineering and consumer needs. And this could reshape the way trucks are built for years to come. But what do truck owners really want? What buyers want? Reliability or cutting-edge tech? Which do truck owners value more? At the heart of the automotive industry's challenges is a simple but profound question. What do truck buyers truly want? The answer, as it turns out, is far from simple. Different groups of consumers have vastly different priorities, and automakers must navigate these competing demands carefully. For traditional truck owners, reliability is paramount. These buyers want a vehicle they can count on, whether it is for towing a heavy load, navigating rugged terrain, or simply getting them to work every day. They value simplicity and durability over flashy features, preferring engines and systems that have been tried and tested. To this group, the recent engine issues at GM, and even problems with newer turbocharged engines at Toyota and Ford, are a betrayal of what they expect from a truck. Then there are the tech enthusiasts. This group is drawn to innovation, embracing features like adaptive cruise control, digital dashboards, and over-the-air software updates. They are excited by the prospect of electric trucks and hybrid systems, seeing them as the future of the industry. For them, the drawbacks of new technologies, like high repair costs or unproven reliability, are acceptable trade-offs for being on the cutting edge. Finally, there is the growing segment of environmentally conscious buyers. These consumers prioritize fuel efficiency and reduced emissions, even if it means compromising on traditional truck capabilities. They are likely to be early adopters of electric trucks, as long as these vehicles meet their practical needs. The challenge for GM and other automakers is how to cater to all these groups simultaneously. Can a single truck appeal to both traditionalists and tech enthusiasts? Is it possible to balance reliability, innovation, and environmental sustainability in a way that satisfies everyone? And this insight could determine the future of truck manufacturing, which leads us to the final pressing question. Can GM rebuild trust? Is GM's reputation beyond repair, or is redemption still possible? General Motors has faced crises before, but the current situation may be one of its most significant challenges yet. The company is not just battling the fallout from its L87 V8 engine issues. It is also grappling with broader questions about its identity and direction. Can GM rebuild trust with its customers, or is its reputation permanently damaged? Rebuilding trust will require a multi-pronged approach. First and foremost, GM must address the immediate crisis. This means providing clear communication to affected owners, issuing recalls where necessary, and offering compensation to those who have already paid for costly repairs. Transparency is key. Customers need to feel that GM is not just acknowledging the problem, but taking concrete steps to fix it. Second, the company must demonstrate a renewed commitment to quality. For years, GM has faced criticism for prioritizing innovation and cost-cutting over reliability. If the company wants to regain its status as a trusted name in the truck market, it must show that it is willing to invest in rigorous testing, higher quality materials, and designs that prioritize durability. Third, GM must clearly articulate its vision for the future. Whether the company decides to continue producing V8 engines, focus entirely on EVs, or find a middle ground, it needs to bring its customers along for the journey. This means addressing the concerns of traditionalists, tech enthusiasts, and environmentally conscious buyers alike. Finally, GM must focus on fostering loyalty among its customer base. One way to do this is by offering extended warranties or maintenance packages for new vehicles, providing peace of mind to buyers wary of potential issues. The company could also launch community-focused initiatives, such as programs to buy back older, reliable models or discounts for loyal customers upgrading to new vehicles. The stakes could not be higher, not just for GM, but for the entire truck industry. So where does this leave truck owners and the future of the industry? General Motors' engine crisis is more than just a technical issue. It is a pivotal moment for the company and the truck industry as a whole. As GM navigates its way forward, it must reconcile the demands of tradition and innovation, addressing past failures while preparing for a rapidly evolving future. Whether it succeeds or stumbles, one thing is clear: the decisions made today will shape the trucks of tomorrow. General Motors' engine crisis isn't just a story about faulty trucks. It's about trust, accountability, and the future of an entire industry. But now, we want to hear from you. Have you experienced issues with your truck? Do you think GM is doing enough to fix this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video eye-opening, hit that like button, share it with others who need to know, and make sure to subscribe to stay updated on the latest automotive news. Do not forget to click the notification bell so you never miss another story like this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.